Welcome to the Amy McManus Show. I have three very special guests here with me this morning. The parents and wife of Lance Corporal Zachary Smith, Chris Smith, Kim Smith, and Ann Deeb Smith. Thanks for coming in, you guys.
You're welcome.
Thanks for having us.
I've been doing a lot of political talk in the past few weeks and people getting worked up, and I'm happy to have you here to just talk about an important event, an important person, and a wonderful family, and all of the things that you've been through these past, is it seven and a half months. First of all, I want to touch base with you on maybe some of the question marks sort of in people's minds of what, as far as you are aware of, how did Zach lose his life?
They were out on a patrol. It was a non-contact mission, which doesn't sit well with us. He's a Marine, and he's in a place where people are trying to kill him. And what had happened is they got up at 4:30 in the morning. They went on a non-contact mission. They came to they call it a compound. I'm still not sure quite exactly. I guess it's buildings and things in the buildings. They had their snipers set up, which I'm assuming are in places that can overlook everything to watch their backs. And apparently as soon as the sun came up, the snipers reported there's a lot of bad guys around. They're starting to pop their heads up. At that point, I guess the lieutenant said, we're going to fall back. This is a non-contact mission. The guys were like, wait a minute, we were in a big firefight last night. These are all bad guys. What do you mean we got to fall back? And he said, that was our orders to fall back. And so as they started to fall back, the Taliban opened up on them, and apparently they opened up very, very heavy. And while they were all trying to cover for each other, as one group would fall back, the other group would cover for him. Zach went inside. I'm still not completely if it was inside a building or inside next to a wall. But while he was falling back and covering for another group that had to fall back also, he stepped on an IED that went off and it injured him quite badly. It did not kill him, we found out, and we found that out through a boy that was there with him. And he was alive for a while, which is something we were hoping didn't happen. Mm-hmm. And he was, as it said in the report, there were several amputees. His lower extremities were really, really bad. And as they were trying to deal with Zach, because he was the first one, one of the sergeants there, Sergeant Daniel Angus, told everybody to kind of leave Zach. He would take care of him with the corpsmen, that they needed to get back out because there was quite a firefight going on. And as Sergeant Angus was dealing with Zach, he also stepped on an IED, and he was subsequently killed. And by the time they cleared off, because it was kind of inside a building, the roof and everything fell down on Angus and Zach. And by the time they got the two of them cleared off, they had both passed.
Mm-hmm. And four of them had injuries from the two explosives, and we've met
a lot of them. We met a boy that sat down with us and told us the story, and he also subsequently had written us a 12-page letter that he had been carrying with him, and he passed it off to me without Kim or anybody knowing, because it was quite detailed, and we're assuming he did that for his own peace. Mm-hmm. And he has since come to the house and spent a couple nights with us, and Kim and him talk on Facebook, and he's become a good part of our family.
Ironically, his name is Zach as well. Mm-hmm. He's from Wisconsin, and he told us that he gave us the 12-page letter not just to get that off of his mind, to help him, because he wasn't thinking about himself at all. He was afraid if something did happen to him, we would never know. Mm-hmm. What really happened to Zach, because he was the first one there.
See, I didn't know any of that.
Yeah,
yeah.
And
Kim and him have talked a lot.
We've talked a lot to him, and he's actually, part of our family, and spent, like Chris said, 2 nights with us, and he.
We've actually had 3 Marines that were with Zach spend the night with us since they returned in July.
And only two of them we had met before briefly. And this one here, we'd never had met this Zach, and he, out of the blue.
Yeah, he contacted us.
Out of the blue, he contacted us in
existed.
May, and just said that he wanted to get a hold of us, realized that we had a very close family. He did spend the last few minutes with Zach. I wrote back to him that same night.
And he was still in Afghanistan.
He was still in
He
Afghanistan.
wrote us from Afghanistan.
And
the contents of the letter were what happened, but what else?
The contents of this letter were just to tell us that
The first letter.
that we'd gotten while he was still in Afghanistan. The contents on this 2-page letter was just to let us know that he was with Zach and that Zach was not ever left alone, which opened my mind to there was some more to the story. And our CACO officers through the Marine Corps that we were assigned.
Well, let me interject. A CACO officer is the officer that is assigned. They assigned one to our family and one to Ann, and they're the ones that made the notification, and they're the ones that walked us through everything we needed to know. And I actually I received a call today from Ann's CACO officer because ours has subsequently moved back to California, but they're kind of with us for the rest of our life, and he makes sure that I know that as long as he's still a Marine, he is assigned to us.
Interesting.
And our CACO officers had told us that we are going to find most of the information out, the details from his unit, and they were so right. So this boy had taken it upon himself to write that letter. He said it's the hardest thing he ever did. What did it say, Ann, in there? It was the hardest thing he ever had to do, but wanted to make sure that we knew that Zach was never left alone. So we wrote back to him, and then he wrote one more letter and said, we told him we wanted to know a lot about him and, of course, the incident. And he wrote one letter back to us and said he would not want to put it in a letter. He'd like to talk. He'd like to talk to us in person, and he would come to New York and see us. And we left it at that because I couldn't write back to him because the mail had been shut off. And they came back in July. We went down after they had been back for 2 weeks to a memorial ceremony. We didn't go down for the homecoming. We went down for the memorial ceremony. And this Zach was at our hotel within 2 hours from the time that our plane had landed. And he then told us the whole story verbally. And the next day passed the 12-page letter that he wrote while he was there to Chris, so that we would always have that. And it wasn't until he came to our house in August that I knew the real reason is because he wanted to make sure if anything ever happened to him, we would know the whole story.
Was there anything else in the letter about his own feelings, or was it just a play-by-play?
It was a play-by-play. He got into what directions they were facing and where they had walked and what the terrain was like.
Typical Marine, right?
Yeah. He actually...
You could close your eyes. You could almost see what was going on. It was that detailed.
What a blessing.
It is, because